We're told to believe in ourselves, but they don't tell you how hard that is when you're the only one in the room doing it. When the people you look to for light and warmth seem to have turned their lanterns away, you start to wonder if they see something you don't, something broken, something impossible. You become a small seed in a great, hard stone, and you wonder if you'll ever find enough light or water to break through. This isn't just a lack of support, it's a quiet kind of cold. Not the kind that makes you shiver, but the kind that sinks deep into your bones. It's the cold that comes from silence, the silence of an empty room after you've shared an idea, the silence of a phone that never rings after you've had a difficult day, the silence that says, "I hear you, but I don't believe in you." And that silence, more than any harsh word, has the power to shatter you. It's a gentle, persistent weight that tells you your dreams are frivolous, your passions are a waste of time, and you are ultimately a fool for even trying. I remember this feeling so clearly. I had an idea, a project that was deeply personal to me. It wasn't a business plan or a grand vision for the world. It was a simple, creative thing I wanted to build, an act of self-expression that felt vital and necessary. I remember the flutter of hope in my chest as I gathered the courage to share it with the people closest to me, hoping for a spark of excitement, a little bit of that reflected light you get from someone who believes in you. Instead, I got a polite, blank look, a shrug, a casual, "That's nice, but what's the point?" It was a small moment, but it was like a landslide inside of me. Every fear I had about the project, that it was silly, pointless, and a waste of time, suddenly had a voice. It wasn't my voice anymore. It was theirs. I let the seed shrink back, convinced that the stone was too hard. The silence was too loud. For months, the project sat there, untouched. It was a ghost of a dream. I had let their disbelief become my internal monologue, a phantom limb of doubt that ached whenever I thought about the project. I started to see myself through their eyes, a dreamer, a fool, someone wasting their time on something without value. The core of the problem wasn't that they didn't believe in my project. It was that their disbelief had made me stop believing in myself. It was an identity crisis. The feeling was an active opposition, a silent force telling me to give up. My internal compass had been taken over by a collective doubt, and I was adrift. In the dead of night, I would lie awake, and the simple question, "What's the point?" would echo in my mind. It was a poison. It seeped into my self-worth, making me feel that my value was conditional on external validation I could receive. And when that validation wasn't there, my self-worth evaporated. I started to believe that my worth was tied to how many people believed in me, and I was failing on that front. I had a beautiful idea, but no witnesses. And without witnesses, did the idea even exist? Was I a failure before I had even truly begun? That period was a long, dark winter. The shame of the untouched project was a heavy cloak I couldn't shed. I felt like I had failed before I had even started. This feeling is so common now, isn't it? The expectation of immediate success, the pressure to be a genius or an overnight sensation. We're taught to believe that if a project doesn't immediately get 1,000 likes or go viral, it's a failure. But what about the quiet process? What about the hours of unseen work, the small acts of growth that happen in the shadows? We've convinced ourselves that if it's not a spectacle, it's not worth doing. I had let that belief become my truth. I let my project sit there as a testament to my inadequacy, a ghost of a dream I had been foolish enough to believe in. But the truth is, a part of you doesn't want to die. The seed is still a seed. It remembers the sun. It remembers the light. And in the deepest, most quiet corner of your being, it holds on to the memory of its own potential. One day, something shifted. It wasn't a grand revelation. It was a small, almost unconscious act. I was cleaning out my desk and I found the forgotten notebook. I didn't try to build the whole thing. I didn't try to win over a crowd. I took one small, tiny step. I opened it and wrote a single paragraph. Then the next day, I wrote another. I didn't do it because anyone was watching. I didn't do it for an audience. I did it because for that small moment, the act of creating was a way of saying, I believe in me. I was taking that external doubt and transmuting it into an internal force. That was the most important lesson. The first and most critical belief has to be your own. You have to become the anchor, the safe space, the source of light. You have to learn to water your own seed in the desert. This isn't just about finding a new support system overnight. It's about learning to be your own. It's about finding strength in the very act of doing something, even when it feels like no one is watching. In a world that values outcomes and applause, you chose to create in private for no one but yourself. This is an act of radical self-belief that reframes the entire purpose of your work. It's no longer about validation or external success. It becomes an act of self-love, a way of nurturing the part of you that wants to grow. It is the purest form of creative freedom. The most important kind of growth happens in the quiet moments, in the privacy of your own mind. It happens when you sit down to do something and the only voice you're listening to is your own. It's the silent rebellion of picking up a sketchbook and drawing something without the intention of ever showing it. It's the cathartic release of writing a story that only you will ever read. It's the small, persistent action that proves to yourself day after day that your worth isn't determined by anyone else's opinion. The project I almost gave up on, I'm still working on it. It's still not a business or a grand vision. It's just a thing I'm building, for me. And the truth is, the belief I found for myself, that one small, persistent belief, has become more powerful than all the doubts that came from the outside. It's like a fortress built of quiet moments and small victories. It's no longer fragile. It's unshakable. I have found a few people who have come along the way who believe in me, but I'm no longer waiting for them. The foundation is already there, a little sturdier and a little more rooted because I built it myself. The belief of others is now a welcome bonus, not a necessity. It is the fruit of my labor, not the source of it.